you won't see me, when you won't see me, I'm in West London this evening.
Welcome to my YouTube channel, Ashiraf Salaudeen TV. We are starting the intervention class, and this is the first edition or the first episode. And we are going to learn French today. And there are some key areas you need to know to pass your French examinations in UPSC. So basically, that is what our tuition is going to be based on. So I'm going to state the areas you are supposed to abreast yourself with to pass your French examination in UPSC. And we take one of them today and we treat it. Okay? The first thing you are supposed to know in French to pass your UPSC French examination is verbs and conjugations. Adjectives. Pronouns. These are the ones I can remember now, but if there is any, I will add it as we do other classes. Okay, so we have verbs and conjugations, we have adjectives, we have pronouns, we have greetings, we have numbers, translations, and time. These are the areas that you get questions from in UPSC French examination. Now the first two topics we are going to discuss today is pronouns, verbs, and conjugations. The reason why I'm adding pronouns to this one is because we use the pronouns in the conjugations. Are we good? Alright. So we take all these off. I hope you note the areas in your book as you are watching. Alright. So verbs and conjugations. First of all, let's look at the pronouns in French. The pronouns in French is very important for you to know, not only for your examination but also for your communication in French. Because if you don't know the pronouns in French, you cannot have a conversation in French with anyone. It's just like saying you don't know the pronouns in English. How then do you communicate? Because if you want to tell someone that you are going to take something, the you is a pronoun. The I you are going to use in the sentence is a pronoun. So you need to be abreast with the pronouns in French. So let's state the pronouns we have in English, then we get them in French. I. So these are the pronouns in English. I, for you, the person talking, you are referring to yourself. You the person talking, is referring to the person you are talking to. He or she. You, the person talking, is telling the person you are talking to about another person. If he is a man or a male, we use he. If it's a female, we use she. Then we, you, the person talking, together with two or more people. You, which is a plural you. You, the person talking, referring to a group of people without you. Then they, you, the person talking, referring to a group of people to another person that you are talking to. Alright? Good. So I in French, we say je. je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il or elle. So let me explain. Je in French is when you are referring to yourself. So je mange, I eat. Mange is to manger is to eat. Okay. So if you say je mange, I eat. Tu is when you are talking to someone directly and you are referring to the person. Il is when you are talking to Kofi about Kojo. Elle, when you are talking to Kofi about Ama. Nous, when you are talking to Kofi and Ama and you are included, you add yourself to whatever it is you are saying. You use nous. Vous is when you are referring to a group of people without you. Then il with the S is when you are referring to a group of people. You are talking to someone about a group of people and they are all male. There is no female among them. Use A with S. When they are all female without a male, use L with S. But this is what you have to take note of. In French, okay, even if there are thousands of women and there is only one man among them, we consider all of them to be male. We use masculine. As far as there is one male amongst them, we use il with S. Good. So let's now move to, I hope we have taken note of the pronouns. Let's move to the verbs. Verbs. In French, we have three groups of verbs. We have the first group verbs. The second group verbs. And the third group verbs. And to identify them, to identify first group verbs, they are verbs that end with ER. For example, manger. I want you to give yourself examples. Verbs that end with ER. That's an assignment, 5 each. Then second group verbs are verbs that end with IR. For example, fini. Get 5 examples for yourself. Then third group verbs are verbs that end with RE. Right? So for example, prendre. These are the type of verbs we have in French and how to identify them. First group verbs end with ER. For example, manger. Second group verbs end with IR. For example, fini. Third group verbs end with RE. For example, prendre. And today we are going to learn how to conjugate the first group verbs and the second group verbs. Then in our next lesson, we look at how to conjugate the third group verbs. Alright? Good. So we are taking the first group verbs first. First group verbs are verbs that end with ER. So if you see any verb in French and the verb ends with ER, it is a first group verb, except aller. So aside the 3 types of verbs we have in French, we have exceptional verbs. and this is one of them. Aller. Aller is an exceptional verb because it does not follow the rule of first group, saying that the first group verbs in French are verbs that end with er, okay, except aller. You see, aller ends with er, but we are saying that it is an exceptional verb because all verbs that end with er have a rule that they follow in conjugating them. But aller does not follow the rule. So aller is an exceptional verb, just like a prodigal son. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. So he is an exceptional boy. He's a prodigal son. The day aller will say, I'm following the rules, then we can add it to the first group verbs. Kindly take note. Aller ends with er, but it's not a first group verb. Okay, good. So let's look at the rule for conjugating first group verbs. To take the rule, every rule corresponds with a pronoun, and we've already discussed the pronouns. Okay, so we are first going to write the pronouns and we add the rule to it. All right, good. Okay, so good. These are the pronouns we use in conjugation, and this is the ending rule. And this rule is for first group verbs, and we said that first group verbs are verbs that end with er. So when you see a first group verb that ends with er, for example of first group verbs, let's mention them. Manger, sauter, danser. And I've given you an assignment. I said each and everyone should get 5 first group verbs. So make a research and get 5 first group verbs. Verbs that end with er. Okay, means to eat. Danser, to dance. Sauter, is to jump. Okay, good. Now the er over there, the er here is the reason why we add to in the English version. I hope you are getting it. The er is what makes it a verb, and the er is the reason why we add to the English version. Now let's come to English. If you are told to conjugate to eat, how do you conjugate it? Do you say I to eat? No. You say I, and you take the to out of it, then you say it. Okay? So when we are conjugating it in French, we take that to in the French version out of it. Alright? So when you take er out of the verb, we'll be left with what? This. Which will write it throughout. Okay? No. First of all, let's look at the rules. In in French, verbs that end with er take their endings as follows. Je goes with E. Tu goes with ES. Il ou elle goes with E. Nous goes with ONS. Vous goes with EZ. Il ou elle goes with ENT. These are the ending rule of verbs that end with ER. That is first group verbs. Okay, so let's take an example. let's take manger. So you are told to conjugate the verb manger. First of all, write your pronouns just like it is here. So you write je, tu, il ou elle, nous, vous, il ou elle. Okay? Then remember that we said if you are conjugating a verb, let me take another verb because there is an exception to this one. So let's take danser. Then I'll come back and explain the manger to you. If you are told to conjugate this is a first group verb. It ends with er. So when you see the verb, first ask yourself, which group verb is it? It's a first group verb because it ends with er. Then remember the ending rule of verbs that end with er. Okay? So you tell yourself that in English, this is to dance. And if I want to conjugate to dance, when I start conjugating, I take the to out of it. Okay? And the to in French is the er. So we are supposed to take the ending, which is the er, out of it. Then write whatever is left for all the pronouns. I hope you are getting it. So when we take er out of danser, we'll be left with what? Dan, which is D-A-N-C. So write what is left for all of them, which is D-A-N-C, 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 D-A-N-C. Now when you do this, then you come and apply the ending rule of first group verbs. This was a first group verb because it had er. Okay? Then we take the er out of it and we write whatever is left for all the pronouns. Then we come and apply the rule, which is the ending rule of first group verbs. So with je, we say it takes the ending as what? E. Then you put it. With tu, it takes the ending as what? Es. Il ou elle takes the ending as e. Nous takes the ending as ons. Vous takes the ending as ez. And il ou elle with s takes their ending as ent. You are done conjugating this. So it means that if they give you 10,000 verbs and they are all first group verbs and they all end with er, except aller, which is an exceptional verb, you should be able to conjugate it. So far as you know the pronouns and the end rule. Are we good? Now there is manger. Manger follows the same procedure. It only changes at the nous. Manger is not an exception. So let's look at manger. Manger is not an exceptional verb. It's a first group verb just like danser and sauter and the rest. Okay? But it only changes at the nous. So let's take manger. You are told to conjugate the verb manger. What did we say you do? Because this is a first group verb, it ends with er. You take the ending off. And what are we left with? We are left with what? Man, which is M-A-N-G. Now when you write this, what is left? You write it for all the pronouns. This is what you do. Then you come and apply the ending rule of first group verbs, verbs that end with er. You apply their ending rule. Are we good? So the je is supposed to end with what? E. So you come and end it with E. Tu is supposed to end with what? Es. You end it with es. Il ou elle is supposed to end with E. You end it with E. Nous is supposed to end with ons. Okay, so under any circumstance, we are supposed to write ONS here. But because this is a G, and in French, it sounds as G. So if we don't add an E to the G, it is not going to sound as je. The verb is manger. You are hearing J, which is je. So in your conjugation, they are all supposed to sound like the verb, which is je. So if we add ONS to the G, we are going to have mangon, which is not a French word. So before we can get the J pronunciation, we are supposed to add an E before we apply the ONS. I hope you get that. So E-O-N-S. This is the rule. The rule only is ONS. But we are applying the E here because it is a G. And if you don't add the E, it will sound as gon instead of Jean. Are we good? Then we continue like that. EZ, then ENT. So if you notice, you realize that they all sound as je because it is E that is attached to them. Are we manger, which only changes at the noon. Every other first group verbs that ends with ER, with the exception of aller, which is an exceptional verb. This is how to go about it. You take the ending ER out. You write whatever is left for the pronouns. Then you apply the ending rule. Ladies and gentlemen, are we good? So this is your assignment. You are all supposed to get 5 first group verbs, apart from these 3 we have written here. 5 first group verbs that end with ER, and conjugate them for me. This is what you are supposed to do. Then I'll be dropping a Zoom link tomorrow so that we all join. Then you ask your questions after watching the video. You may have questions you want to ask. So you ask the questions on the Zoom link. Are we good? Please subscribe to the channel.
When you want to see me, I'm in West London this evening.